heard from the detectives who investigate stuff out on the street. You've heard from one of the doctors at the health center that have told you all about the different aspects of drugs and what, how medicines can be good for you and similarly be not good for you if they're taken the wrong way, or if they're not, if they're taken when they shouldn't be taken. You've heard from Greg Henning in the DA's office who prosecute you, and now we have a lady who's going to come up. She's the assistant chief. Well, he's speaking after her. So, yeah. How about a nice hand for our great mayor, Marty Walsh? So, the mayor's going to speak after this next speaker. So, this lady who's going to come up and speak to us, her name is Marinelle Sanchez. She's the Assistant Chief Probation Officer from Suffolk County, from South Boston District Court. And she's going to tell you about her job and how if you end up getting arrested, you get prosecuted, and then you get a sentence and you get put on probation. She's going to tell you how her job, how they control your life, and you no longer control your life. And it's like having a built-in babysitter that you don't want, not one who's going to play video games with you. So without further ado, I want to welcome Marinelle Sanchez from the South Boston District.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Marinelle, as he said, and I've been a probation officer for 24 years in South Boston District Court. My first 4 years was juvenile probation, so I dealt with young people. The last year I've been the assistant chief there, so it's been a little different. But as a probation officer for the past 24 years, it's been an experience. So I just wanted to get just a little knowledge from you. What do you guys think that I do as a probation officer? For me? Make people stay in certain places and not go to certain places, right? Yeah, that could be true. Yeah, I can do that. Anybody else?
Isn't it when someone does something bad and they go to jail for a certain period of time and they come out and then they have a probation officer to help them stay stay?
Those are the people who they have split sentences. Some people will go to jail for a little bit and then they get probation. They might be paroled first if they still have time, but then they might get probation. And yes, they have certain conditions that it's my responsibility that they fulfill those responsibilities. Anybody else? I was just listening to everybody that was here, and I really like the fact that it's a sequence of events that happens. So the first thing could be seeing your doctor. If something's wrong with you, you see your doctor for help, maybe for medication, for treatment, and then follow your doctor's instructions. One of the things the doctor said here is do not take medication from anybody. Medication that does not belong to you, do not take, please. I have a lot of people on probation that's how they started. They started taking other people's medication, and then once they didn't have that medication, they went on to something else. The sequence is once you go into something else, that's when you meet the nice detectives that were here. Okay, their job is to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So that's the second. And then the third, once you get arrested by these detectives, then you see the Suffolk County ADA, Greg Henning. He's the one that's going to prove, based on the information the detectives have, that you are guilty, okay? And once the judge agrees with that, then that's when I step in, okay? You're going to be placed on probation. It could be a continue without a finding, depending on if it's your first or second. If it's your third or fourth, you might get a straight guilty probation. Just probation with me, it could be anything from 6 months to 3 years of probation. that means 3 years of me supervising you, me telling you what to do and what not to do. And I'm sure that you guys would love to have me telling you what you can do and what you can't do on an everyday basis, right? Yes? Some people will get ankle bracelets. It depends on the nature of the offense, and that's even more supervision. If you get the ankle bracelet, that means I can monitor you 24/7, okay? And usually with ankle bracelets comes a curfew, okay? How many people like curfews here? Everybody, I know, right? A curfew means that you have to be in your house by a certain amount of time. You know, you can have that with a GPS bracelet or not. If you have a curfew, let's say 7 o'clock at night, I have to call your house to make sure you're there, okay? Or I can go by your house to make sure you're there. And if you're not there, you miss curfew, that's a violation of the curfew, and I can issue a warrant and have the police go to your house or wherever you may be and pick you up, okay? So it's very important that, you know, you obey the curfew.
How many times can they violate that?
How many times can they violate it? Once. Yes, once. Yes. Once you violate that, you go in front of the judge and the judge decides, and I can help the judge decide depending on how compliant you've been. Can this person be in the community? You know, because one of the major responsibilities of a probation officer is to protect the community, okay? Our job is to protect the community from people who violated the law, who put the community in jeopardy. So if you violate that once, that's enough for me to go up to the judge and say, this person is on probation and he's putting the community in danger, or that person is putting themselves in danger. So I don't think this person qualifies for being on probation anymore. So maybe this person needs to go to jail. So that's my responsibility to make that decision. Yes? Well, a minute or two late, that's understandable. Sometimes people are running late, maybe the MBTA is running late. When you're on, usually everybody has a cell phone, so we can call people and say, you're running late, and especially the GPS people, they can tell, and I can tell with my computer exactly where you're standing. So if you're a minute away from home, I know you're almost there. So that's not. It's when you're 20 minutes late, a half an hour late, and you're across town. No, you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be there. What happened? Well, we can tell those things. It depends. We take everything into consideration. But a lot of times when people are late, it's because they left the place late, knowing that they had to be at home at a certain time. So we take everything into consideration. Okay? One of the things I wanted to let you guys know is that everybody talks about marijuana being legal. When you're on probation, it's not legal. If the judge says no drugs because you're going to be tested, that includes marijuana. Okay? So, and if you're saying that you have certain pains and you need some kind of medication, depending on the nature of the medication, we usually require doctor's notices stating that you need to be on this medication, because unfortunately people abuse medication as well, and those things can also get people arrested.
How many times could you? Well, how many times?
Once. They could get tested 5 times a week. 5 times a week, yes.
You guys never tell them when? You just do it?
It's always random. Well, if it's 5 times a week, you're going to be tested Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But if it's random, it could be 2 times a week, 3 times a week, 5 times a month, and it's completely random, yes. And failure to show up for a test, it's automatically a positive test. So that's a violation. Yes?
Have you ever had any teenagers?
Yes. When I did juveniles for 4 years, I had a whole bunch of teenagers. I had anything from 7 years old to 17 years old. Yes.
What can you do at 7?
My youngest person was 7 years old. He hit somebody with a wiffle bat. No, he didn't go to jail. They just placed him on probation. And while you're on probation, the judge can order anger management class, testing, they can order curfews, they can order that you go to school every single day and get me an attendance record every single week. The judge can order a whole bunch of things to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Any questions? Any questions about probation? You could be on probation for anything from shoplifting to the worst thing. There's different times of probation. Like I said, 6 months to 3 years. Adults? For probation? It doesn't, there's no time limit depending on the agreement that the ADA made with the judge and the defense attorney. I've seen probation for 5 years. For 5 years. And it depends on the offense. Some people might get just straight probation, and some people might get split sentences, which means that they'll do like 1 year in jail, and then when they're released, they have 3 years left on probation with a whole slew of conditions that they have to follow through. So usually the most I've seen is 5 years. Any other questions? One of the things I need to let you know is when we do supervised testing, that means that a probation officer goes with you into the ladies' room, the men's room, and watch you urinate in a cup, which is one of the biggest things that people have a hard time with. But that's, once you're on probation, that privacy doesn't exist anymore.
I have a question. If someone's on probation, can they testify against the courts, like with a lawyer, to like go against them?
Can they testify?
Yeah, against like your orders.
Usually when an order is imposed, that means that it's been agreed upon with the defense attorney, your attorney, and the ADA. So it's an agreement. So you, as your attorney, should inform you what the agreement is. So once you sign that paper, you have to honor it. A lot of people don't realize that. They come out, they're signing the paper, and then when they come to my office, I said, okay, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and they're like, no, I changed my mind, I can't do it. It's too late. You've already signed it, you've already made the agreement. And if you don't do it now it's a violation. Any other questions? Well, my recommendation is avoid being on probation at all costs, unless you like somebody like me or somebody like other POs that we have a whole bunch in the state. I'm telling you what to do on a daily basis. Thank you.
Well, we have two more parts to the program today. And you've heard from the police, you've heard from the DA's office, you've heard from the probation, you've heard from the doctor, and now we are extremely, extremely grateful and extremely lucky to have the Chief Executive Officer of the City of Boston, and he runs every department. He's in charge of all the programs. He's in charge of all the good stuff that happens in the City of Boston. And I can't think of any other term than a rock star. He's our rock star. He's here today. He was here last year. We are so fortunate to have him. He does a great job. And please give him all your attention and listen carefully what he has to say. Our Mayor, Mayor Marty Walsh.
Thank you. Thank you, John. And it's great to be here today. Actually, it's not great to be here today because the issue we're talking about, I don't like talking about it with young people, but it's important to talk about it because you heard from our police department and you heard from Ms. Sanchez what happens if somebody starts to drink and use drugs at a young age and what happens in their life. And that's just part of the story. And there's another part of that story that when you're on probation that Ms. Sanchez didn't really touch upon, but it doesn't usually get better than that. Most times, unless you turn your life around, or a person can turn their life around, it's a life of in and out of jail, in and out of detox, and it can get worse than that. I went to grammar school a kindergarten at the Everett School. It's in Dorchester. I went to kindergarten at Boston Public Schools. And then in first grade, I went to St. Margaret's Grammar School. And in first, second, third, fourth grade, in second grade, I was sick. I had cancer, so I missed a lot of second and third grade as a kid. I was like in the hospital a lot, so I missed a lot of school. When I got to fifth grade, my teacher was Sister Mary Lords. She loved me so much that she kept me there a second time. So I got kept back in the fifth grade. When I got to sixth grade, you know, that fifth to sixth grade is a big jump because you start to be, I don't want to say you're an adult, but you start to become an adult a little bit because you get a little more independent and you start to think a little differently as you get older. Seventh and eighth grade are important ages for kids because by that point, when I was in eighth grade, I knew that I wanted to get into politics. So I knew what I wanted in my life. I knew I loved it. And the reason why I loved seeing my uncle ran for office at one point, and his name was on a bumper sticker, and I thought it was the coolest thing. So I'm saying, I want to run for office because I want my name on a bumper sticker. That's how it all got started. And I always wanted to be part of that. When I went on to high school was pretty, for me, for the most part, for me, it was pretty uneventful. What I mean by that is I didn't get a lot of trouble in school, but I also didn't really focus on school that much. But I had friends of mine in more so high school, a little bit eighth grade, that started to do things that I didn't want to do. I was afraid of my mother. My mother's from Ireland, and I was afraid of my mother. Anyone has an Irish mother or Italian mother or a mother from another country, you know, they're very serious. You can't really mess around with them, so I had one of those at home. In eighth grade in high school, I didn't do a lot. But a lot of my friends started to dabble. They were dabbling in marijuana, smoking weed. They were dabbling in pills. Oxycontin really weren't around when I was growing up. It was different types of drugs at that point. Heroin was not an issue in the neighborhood. If anyone that did heroin in the neighborhood, it was kind of in a dark alley no one really talked about. Now everyone knows what heroin is, right? You all obviously heard what Oxycontin is, right? Most of you? Everyone knows what marijuana is, right? Alcohol. So I watched a lot of kids start to dabble in that stuff. And then myself, my own story was, I was always kind of afraid of drugs. I never did them because I was always afraid of them, because I saw what it did to my friends, and I saw the trouble they got into, and I saw where it took them down their path, whether it's smoking weed or doing other things. But I got into drinking, and my drinking took off, and I drank to the point where my drinking got out of control, where I ended up quitting school. I dropped out of college because I thought I wanted to make money. And I had dreams and aspirations when I was sitting in a class like yours in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, but those dreams and aspirations were out the window because I just wanted to, what I thought was have fun and party. And every time I got in trouble in my life as an older person, when I say older, when I'm 20, 21, 22, I was drinking. And when I wasn't drinking, I wasn't getting in trouble. And when I say getting in trouble, I was getting in trouble by like those guys, not those guys, those two guys, but guys like that, the police department. And what happened for me is that I had to go to a program to deal with what's called alcoholism. Anyone know what alcoholism is? Somebody tell me what alcoholism is. Yeah. Yeah, when you addict to alcohol, what's drug addiction? What's drug addiction? Drugs. What does addicted mean? Does anyone know what addicted means? You can't stop. Does anyone have that feeling? Anyone know what addiction is? All right, let me ask you a question. Do any of you eat potato chips? Can you just have one potato chip out of a bag? No. How many potato chips do you have to have? A lot of potato chips, right? You do another one, another one, another one, another one, until the bag is gone, right?
I don't like potato chips. That's
what addiction is. Addiction is something that you want to stop, but you can't stop. So what happened for me that's what happened to me. And I ended up going to treatment. And when I got out of treatment, I had to go to a detox. And the detox is not something that you want to go to. When I was sitting in 8th grade at St. Margaret's Grammar School, and Sister Helen was my teacher, and I was getting ready to graduate 8th grade, go on to 9th grade in high school, I wasn't thinking about going to a detox. When I was in my 12th grade in high school, and I was graduating and going to my first year of college, because I was going to college because that's what I was supposed to do, I wasn't thinking about going to detox. But years later, I'm dropping out of school and I'm in detox. And I think to myself, my life is, I am not, I'm nowhere near where I want to be in my life. Because I want to be in politics. I was working in construction. I wanted to be representing people of Dorchester. I wanted to be the mayor of Boston someday. And I didn't have a college degree. I had a high school diploma. And worse than that, I was a college dropout on top of that. I wasn't even, I went to college, I dropped out. So what happened for me was, I got sober. My life, I started looking at my life and I started thinking, okay, what do I have to do in my life? First thing I did is go back to college. I enrolled at Boston College and I got my degree. I was 40 years old when I got my college degree, but I got my college degree. I grew up in a house where my parents weren't from America. They were both born in Ireland, they're both from Ireland. So when I grew up in a family with immigrants in my house, and they couldn't help me with all my homework a lot because they could only help me with so much of my grades, and I faked it a little bit because I didn't have nobody at home. I had American cousins that were older that could help me, but I didn't really want to help them. I pretended I was doing my work. At the end of the day, when I look back on my life today, I think about some of the things that I've done in my life and the decisions I've made. You know, I shortchanged myself when it comes to education. I didn't pay attention the way I should have when it comes to education. And I saw people drinking, and some of you were talking about addiction. I saw people drinking around me, and I said, I'll never do that. And I saw people drugging around me, I said, I'll never do that. And I didn't drug, but I drank. And I've seen friends of mine today that I can't help because they're stuck on being drug addicts. Now let me just ask you, say one last thing, I'm going to open up for questions. You know when you live in your neighborhood and you see a group of guys hanging on the corner and they're drinking out of a bag, or they're just hanging there, they're smoking weed, or maybe they're doing drugs? Do you think when they were in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, they woke up and said, you know, I want to grow up to be a drug addict and alcoholic, and I want to hang on the corner, and I want to graduate 8th grade of my school, whether it's the Elliott or St. John's, wherever it is, and I want to go and hang on the corner. Do you think that was their goal in life, that aspiration? And how does all this start? How does drug addiction and alcoholism start? Somebody tell me how it starts.
Either like when your friend tells you like to try something new and then you actually like do it.
Yeah, what else? How does it start? You're right, your friend tells you.
Like when you first try it.
When you first try it. That's how it all starts. It's that simple. If you're out there, if you're in 6th grade today, 7th or 8th grade, and somebody offers you something, you don't have to follow them. Be a leader. Don't be a follower. Be a leader on it. You don't have to smoke a joint. You don't have to take a pill. You don't have to take a drink to be cool. It has nothing to do with that. People talk about it all the time. I look back now, and some of the cool kids, when I was growing up with, they're not working today. And I'm the mayor of Boston. So when you think about it, that's exactly it. Don't follow the path. Because it's like, remember I said about potato chips? Potato chips are like drugs. You can't just have one. Any questions for me? There gotta be some questions, yes?
Have you ever been to an AA meeting?
Have I been to an AA meeting? I go to AA meetings twice a week. I try to go every Friday and every Sunday if I can, as much as I can. North End, there's a church down the street. They're at the Prado on Sunday morning, 9 o'clock. I go to that meeting once in a while with my friends. Absolutely. I'm proud of it too, because without that, my life's turned around because of that. Come on, 8th graders. Questions, 8th graders. What's the 8th graders? Come on, questions. Let's go. Don't sit there and not say anything. What's your question?
Oh, no.
I know, you must have a question for me. Ask me something.
There's one right here, one right here.
8th graders, come on, give me some questions. Don't sit back here and pay like you want to pay attention. I want to hear you, because you graduated. Let's go. Give me some.
When did you know you wanted to be there?
One day, probably in high school, I wanted to become mayor. I was thinking back, like, I wanted to be involved in politics, and anybody in Boston that's in politics in Boston wants to be mayor of Boston. So that's kind of what it started. Yes. Question for me? 8th graders, any other 8th graders? Come on, 8th graders. You serious? You got something? Yeah.
I never wanted to be hired than mayor.
I ever wanted to be higher than mayor. You know, I'm just focused right now on being mayor. I don't know. Some days yes, some days no. I really just focus on being the mayor of Boston. I love my job. But you never know what's going to happen in life. Yes?
How will we
How old was I when I became sober? I was 28 years old. So I went through a little bit of disaster doing it. And when it wasn't a pretty picture. It was a lot of problems that happened with blacking out, not knowing where I am, trying to piece the night before together. It's not fun. Yes?
Do you ever think about going in after your term there on up?
No, not until Donald Trump became president. He can do it anyway.
Oh.
I know this is Trump people. Don't worry about it. You'll Hold on, guys.
Change like a major aspect of your life, what would it be?
My life? If I could change a major aspect of my life, what would it be? I'd probably want to go back on my education and do it over again. When I look at my life today, even though I made some bad decisions in life, those bad decisions in some ways made me a stronger person, who I am. But if I could do it all over again, I'd go back and do my education over again. Because there's so many opportunities for education. People don't, some of you don't realize it now. I mean, some of you do realize it now. But, get as much education as you can. Take it all in, because that's really the ticket to do whatever you want to do. Yes?
When you were drinking alcohol, were you in the states like you were depressed and stressed out?
Yeah, alcohol and drugs are depressant. So they're gonna make you feel depressed a little bit. They're gonna bring you down inside. So when you do them, you see people when they're drinking and drugging, like when they're smoking weed, they're kind of laid back and chilling out. They're chilling out, but it's depressing. It doesn't help your emotion in a positive way.
Out of all the drugs, why did you choose alcohol?
I don't know. It was there. It was easier. I was afraid of the drugs. But today, and I think about today. Drugs today they're a lot more accessible to young people in our society, and I think that's a sad thing, because when I do go to those AA meetings and I see people, I see young people coming into the meetings, and a lot of them didn't really drink, they started using drugs. So, and when I say it, you hear this all the time, and people will tell you, you heard the police department talk about their job, and you heard them talk about kids at 12 and 13 years old getting arrested for drugs. You heard probation talking about probation. Those are serious stories. Those young people are you in another town or another neighborhood or another school. You know what I mean? They're you. The choices, decisions you have to make. And I want to encourage you all to make the right decisions, because I've seen too many people. I've seen too many friends of mine and too many families that call me because their kids are struggling or dying. And the worst thing you can do is go to a wake and a funeral of somebody who's 20 years old, because their whole life is in front of them. How old are you 8th graders? 14. So that's 6 years from now. Some younger than that. 7th graders, how old are you? 12? 13. 13. So you think in 6th graders. So think about this stuff. Any last questions? 7th graders got questions for me? 6th graders, you smarter than the 7th and 8th graders? What are you guys? 7th, you guys are good. 7th, 6th, not bad, a couple good 6th. 5th and 6th. 6th, that's right. 8th graders, I don't know, you guys are 6th today. Too cool to ask. Well, listen, yes?
What was your biggest inspiration growing up?
My biggest inspiration? God, that's a good question. Person-wise, probably my uncle was one of my inspirations. He ran the laborers union in Boston, and he always represented people. So I liked the fact that he always fought for working class people. That was one inspiration of mine. Probably one of my biggest. My parents.
What's most rewarding about being a man?
Being able to talk to you guys today. Being able to come out and talk about my experiences and try and help people, and then talking to young people in the city, because you are the future leaders of the city. Everyone in this room have a dream? Everyone has a dream, right? What you want to do when you get older? Right? Everyone have one? What do you want to do when you get older? You don't know yet. What do you want to do? Football. NFL? NFL. What do you want to do? Basketball. NBA? All right, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Anybody want to be a lawyer? Anybody want to be a doctor? Anybody want to be a police officer? No police officers? The money's good? We got 1, 2. All right, how do you get your dream? Including in the NFL, including the NBA, how do you get your dream?
Education.
Yeah, how do you
Work really hard for it and try your best.
You work hard, try your best. What else?
You have like someone to like inspire.
Use somebody for inspiration. What else? What is it? All right. What is it? Practice. What else? What is it? Interest. What else? Work hard, play hard. What else? Education. What else? Don't do drugs and don't drink and don't quit. You don't quit. When I ran for mayor 4 years ago, I'm going to end with this. When I ran for mayor 4 years ago, there was 12 people that ran. So there was 12 of us running for mayor. And there wasn't one day that went by that I didn't think that I was going to win the race. And a friend of mine asked me, they said, what happens if you don't win tomorrow? And I said, it's okay. Because I did everything I possibly could have done to become the next mayor of Boston. And if I don't win tomorrow, will I be upset? Yes. But will I have regrets? No. Why will I not have regrets? Because I tried. So if you want to be in the NFL, if you want to be in the NBA, if you want to be a lawyer, you got to try. Which means school, education, live right, no drinking, no drugs, ask people for help if you're confused. Thank you guys and girls. Have a great day.
I'm going to ask all of you in 1 second to get up. We're going to take a big group picture with the mayor. I did want to acknowledge that our state senator, Joe Boncore, joined us. You can give him a bigger hand because he's not going to speak. And a couple of other North End Against Drugs board members that came in. Stephen Pascantilli, who is running for city council. Kathy Carangelo, that works for City Councilor La Mattina, and Maria Lanza, who works for Mayor Walsh. So we're glad to have them along with the rest of the board members.
Who graduated last year.
Yeah. So why don't you all come up, and we're gonna take a big group picture right here on the stage with the mayor, all right?
Ice cream!